This lesson is about the middle menu bar. The middle menu bar has a number of controls that allow you to make changes to your timeline. And as the term says, it is in the middle of your screen. So it's this lighter grey bar that runs right across the middle of your screen. There's quite a lot of detail tied up with the middle menu bar, so I'm going to break this up into two lessons. First of all, we'll look at the left-hand side, and then we'll look in the next lesson at the right-hand side of the menu bar. From the left-hand side, the first one we come across is the index. From a beginner's point of view, what the index allows you to do is to look at your clips and be able to access them. Currently, we're looking at the clips tab here. If we click this index here, we'll see that that clip has been highlighted in the timeline. If we click on this one, we'll see that that clip has been highlighted in the timeline. We'll look at tags in more detail in another session, as for roles as well. From a beginner's point of view, the clips are the important ones. So if we wanted to search for a particular clip, we know that one of these ones in here is 0017. So if we type that, we can see that 0017 has popped up. Clear that search, you need to press the little X button here to clear it. The index can be closed by clicking the index button and it's gone away. These four icons here are representing how to edit into the timeline from your browser. So these are the clips in the browser, these are the clips in the timeline. The first one will edit the clip into the timeline as a connected clip at the point where the playhead is. Here we have this clip selected, the yellow is around it. Clicking here will bring that clip in. It's connected in the timeline. The second option, this one here with a little downward arrow, so when we press this button, it will insert that clip. The insert button has the letter W attached to it. When you press W, if we have this section selected and the playhead in this location, press the W key, it will insert that clip. The third button will add the selection to the end of the timeline, and this is irrelevant of where the playhead is located. So just pressing the playhead here, so it's located in this position. If I press this button, you'll see that the clip has come in at this point. The same function can be used with the E key. So there is the clip at the end of the timeline. That covers the three buttons that you can use to edit into the timeline. The Q button that will connect a clip, the W button that will insert into the timeline between clips or at an edit point, and also the E button. But in practice, what you're probably going to do, certainly at an early stage, is that when you select the clip in the browser, you'll more likely drag it into the timeline. So we could drag it in there and that's come in as a connected clip, or you could select a clip here, drag it and insert it between two clips. Or you could take the clip and you could drag it to the end of the timeline. You will find that you'll use the E key more often than the other ones because it's a lot quicker to select the clip in the browser and press the E key and then find it pop straight into the end of your timeline. And the final of these four icons allows you to press the little downward arrow, and there we can select the different modes. So currently, we've been adding all, that's both video and audio, into the timeline, but you could appropriately select just the video or just the audio. So if we select this here and now press this button, this clip is selected, playhead is here, just the audio has been inserted. With the video only selected and use the insert, then only video is selected, so you can't see the audio in this clip. The next button in the set that we're looking at here on the left hand side has a downward facing arrow, and if you click on that downward arrow it will give you the selections. These selections are for how you will edit in the timeline. So once you've got the clips in the timeline, the A tool is the tool that you will use most of the time. When that's selected, then anything that you click on you can move. You can shorten clips and lengthen them. You can replace clips and put them in different positions. The second tool is the trim tool. You will use this if you want to trim between two clips. So you'll be able to click and you'll notice how the cursor has changed to a double-sided arrow. When it becomes red, that means there's no more footage available in the browser for that clip on the left-hand side. If we click on these ones here, then there's more footage available, and so you can move it wherever you want to. You'll also note, if you look at the viewer, it has been split into two screens. The left-hand screen represents the end of the left-hand clip, and the right-hand screen represents the starting point of the right-hand clip where you're editing. The other selections that you will use is the position tool. So while you're selected on the position tool, it looks a little bit like the A tool, but it only has the head of the arrow. If you click on a clip with the P tool selected, then the magnetic timeline is effectively eliminated. Let's see here. So we've selected on the P tool. If we click on this clip here, and the yellow outline shows what's selected, if we drag that now, what you'd normally expect would be for that to pop back, and a slug or a black clip has replaced the magnetic timeline effect. What you need to be careful of when you're working with the P tool, it looks very similar to the normal arrow or A tool, but it acts very differently. So there is a rule: after you've used each of them, you should always go back to the select tool before you do anything else. So using the P tool, do what you want to do and then go back to the select tool. You can use the A for a quick way of doing this. Next down the line is the range selection, and the range selection allows you to select a portion of a clip or a portion of the timeline irrelevant of where the edit points are. So if I select the range tool and then click in the middle of this clip and then drag, you can see I've selected a range irrelevant of where these edit points are. When you have a range like this, there are a number of things that can be done. You can reduce the audio just for that range. You can copy and paste just that range, or you could export just that range rather than the whole clip. The next tool is the blade tool, and when you select it, you'll see that the cursor turns into a little blade. It will cut the clip and create an edit. Now be careful again, remember to go back to the A tool, otherwise when you go to select something else, you'll just make another cut. If you do accidentally make another cut, then you can always go up to the trim menu and join the clips. Clips that are immediately consecutive to each other can be joined. If you find that the join clips command is grayed out, that means that the clips are not consecutive to each other and you won't be able to join them that way. To overcome that little problem, my suggestion is that rather than using the blade tool, you go to the point in the timeline where you want to make a blade and you press Command B, and that gives you a cut. The other tools I wouldn't worry about using here. Zoom simply zooms into the timeline, and the hand gives you the ability to move the timeline around. There are much better ways of doing that. So that covers the left-hand side of the middle menu bar. In the next session, we'll look at some of the items here in the middle, and mainly these other items over here on the right-hand side.